This screen is the working window. In the working windows, you can switch to various views such as front view, back view, bottom view, right view, left view, and perspective. It's an easy, very easy method. For example, you can perform the rotation by clicking on the square here to go left, or by rotating the arrows around this square in different ways, friends. Or you can click here, it says bottom, which means you can see it from a lower perspective. Now, I want to place a Corona camera. This is abbreviated as Corona glass, friends. Look, the parts with the symbols are the camera parts, where the Corona is. When I come to the Corona, camera, and go to the camera tab, again, you can see the standard section of 3D Max. Here, look, there's standard and individual, and there's Corona glass in the settings. When I go to the camera section, Corona glass is selected. I will click on this to add the Corona glass, but to set up the camera for the Corona scene, friends, I want to see this scene from above. I'm pressing the T key on the keyboard for Trabzon, switching to the top view, friends. At the same time, to work comfortably, I'm making it full screen by clicking on the Maximize Viewport toggle section at the bottom right. Its name is full screen, friends. Look, I'm clicking on this, and then I click again to go full screen. I've come to the full screen section. I clicked on the Corona camera section here. First, I want to take a look from this corner over to here, friends. Look, I'm clicking here and holding it down to open the point where the camera is, and I placed it at this end point. Now my Corona camera is ready, friends. For now, I'm pressing the C key on the keyboard, which is for the camera, and I've switched to the camera view. I'm holding down the mouse and pulling it down, friends. Look, I've pulled it down. Now, right now I'm at the far end of that bedroom, friends. Look, like this. I'm pressing the F3 key to see more clearly. When I press F3, it switches from wireframe view to texture view, friends. Of course, since my camera is very close to the bed, friends, I can pull it back a bit using the dolly camera here. But when I pull back, look, I'm going into the wall. I need to adjust the angle. Right below it, there's an open camera, filter off beam. I'm opening it with the filter off beam. Friends, like this. I opened it. Of course, if I do too much, it will mess up the openness a bit, but right now I'm at an ideal view. Like this. I've set this up. Let this be my first camera. Look, I've set up my first camera. This is my first camera, friends. Now, to do the same process, again, look at this. I'm going to go to the Maximize Viewport section again, friends. I'm pressing, look, I've come to this part again. I'm coming to the tab screen, friends. I pressed full screen. I pressed zoom extent for zoom extent. Zoom extent allows the objects on my screen to reflect on the display. So it ensures that it goes full screen. Look, I did zoom extent, and it fit this perfectly on the full screen. I'm also going to look from here, friends. I'm going to look at the camera across. You can look at the camera in two ways. I've come Corona cam again. From here, I'm going to bring this down a bit. Look, I looked from here and left the Corona cam on the canvases, friends. I pressed C key again. I've switched to the second Corona cam, and I made this full screen again, friends. I pressed the F3 key, and I'm going to step back a bit from here. Let's see, I'll come up to the wall, right at the edge of the wall, without going into the wall. Let's take a look like this. Full cameras, friends. I came like this. Look, I've gone right inside, and in the next part, I adjusted the angle like this, guys. As you can see, this is the way to do it. I can render from the camera section in two different ways. I've just adjusted my camera. My camera is just a part that shows how I will look at the scene. By default, guys. I pressed C, and look. You can switch to camera 01 from here. Look, I'm marking from here. I'm marking camera 2. I'm pressing C, switching. I'm pressing C. I switch to camera 1. I'm going to pull it up a bit more, guys. Let there be a view, screen like this. Now, what I'm going to do here, guys, is actually to let sunlight in. Logically, I want to let sunlight in. That's why I need to apply curtain texture to my curtains over there. The curtain texture in CoronaRender is very simple, very easy, guys. Now look, this is the bar tool of Corona itself. The Corona Cosmos over there, the Cosmos library is referred to. Same way in VD. When you press from the Cosmos library, guys, a screen like this comes up. Here, you can find textures, models, materials, trees, plants, whatever you want. I'm going to the texturing section. Look, I've gone to the texturing section. From here, or you've come to the settings section. You typed curtain here in English. I pressed enter. Look, there's sheer curtain. And there's also patterned sheer curtain, guys. You can use both. It's optional. Use whichever one you want, guys. You can use this one or that one. Look, I've selected this one. I'm going to download it. The blue arrow pointing down shows that the texture hasn't been downloaded. If I press the arrow key while the object is selected, it will assign the texture to the object. Guys, it was assigned to it. I've selected this one too. I'm going to give it to. I've assigned it here. Now, my textures look uneven on the object, so it doesn't look properly aligned. That's why, guys, there's a feature called UV Map in 3DMX. UV Map. What is UV Map? I gave an example from the terrain to perfectly fit the texture you have onto a sloped surface. Because the texture of the curtain is like a terrain because it's uneven. To fit the texture, you need to go to the Modify window from your Modify panel and use the UV Map at the bottom of the Modify list. The UV Map coordinates are the part that aligns the texture onto the surface, guys. Look, I've selected this. I selected the UV Map. I've come to the box section from here. Look, it looks really big. Did you see? Now, from the UV Map section, if I come to the gizmo at the bottom and use the scale tool, if I lower it from the middle like this, look, if I lower it like this, I can ensure that the patterns there fit perfectly here. Look like this. Since each of these patterns is a small design, I'm going to shrink them down and leave them in a specific spot. It will be visible in the render. Look, it's perfectly aligned now. There's no trace left of the other two messes. They look like lines. It will look better in the render. Now, I've clicked on the UV Map section. I close this menu, guys. And from this part, here for example, let me come over here. By pressing the L key, let me see this from the left window. The reason I want to see it from the left window, guys, is so that I can let sunlight through these curtains. Look, it's not visible from the left now. Right, let's press R. From here, R. Let me press F. Let me see. Here. Sometimes there are glitches. From here, one I mentioned from Max. Look, guys, right now, I'm looking from here. Let me switch to the camera from here. Let me switch to camera 2. Look, press C and a camera menu popped up. Let's keep it on camera 1 like this. And look, curtains are right here. My camera is here. My second camera is here. I want to let some sunlight in from here, guys. Now look. Now, I've come to the light menu. I selected the Corona section over there. There's CoronaSun. CoronaSunLight, look. After selecting the CoronaSunLight, guys, I pressed from here as a point and made the CoronaSunLight come in. Look, guys. And here you can see the direction. Look. There's the size. You can adjust its size and direction towards this angle. The position of the first point is being given. The second point is giving its angle. Look, I set the angle and left it like this, guys. In the CoronaSun, we have 2 settings. It's important. The others are important, but these, for example, the internet part, the sun, intensity of the CoronaSun. Normally, friends, the sun already comes in very intensely. Since this is at a value of 1, wouldn't recommend pushing it too high on 1. The size value refers to the softness of the shadows. Normally, when the value is at 1, the shadow is very sharp. While at values above 1, the shadow appears soft and smooth, friends. From the realistic section below, it gives the light of the sun, which has its own value. White light of the sun. From the direct input section, you can set a value according to your preference. Normally, this light is equal to the value of sunlight. From the Kelvin value below, you can set a value according to the temperature value. When this value goes down, it turns blue, and when it goes up, it becomes yellowish. Of course, these change according to how you want to adjust the ambiance of the scene. I'm starting from the direct input section, and this value. Here is a nice value. It's not pure white, it's not exactly yellow, and it's not a color that's gone fully towards yellow. It's not a color that's completely white. That's a color. That gives the effect of that sun, friends. A color, the tone of the morning sun. I'm giving that, and it says here, Add Corona Sky. You know how we have that blue in the sky. It asks if you want to add this as Corona Sky to the environment window. I said I want to add it, and I pressed it. I added this to the environment window. Friends, look, I've come here. Now, I'm going to take a render from here. My shortcut for rendering is Shift-Q. When I press Shift-Q, it takes a render. In my other method of taking a render, when I press F1 on the render setup and then click on render, the render starts. It starts in two ways. Now I've pressed render, guys. Look, my resolution here is 1280 by 720. Now with the settings we've made, the sunlight will come through the curtain and cause some illumination inside. Guys, look, as you can see, this is how the process works. You can see natural sunlight here. Look at the materials inside the sheer curtain and the reflections and shading from the regular window. They give a nice natural effect here, as you can see. Of course, our process doesn't stop here. As you can see, this is the process. You're seeing natural sunlight here. Look at the materials inside the sheer curtain and the reflections and shading from the regular window. They give a nice natural effect here, as you can see. Of course, our process doesn't stop here. After this, we will be doing many more steps, but the only process we've done so far is placing the sun and adjusting the sunlight settings. After this, we will be doing many more processes. But the only process we've done here is placing the sun and adjusting the sunlight settings. Here we have various settings. For example, look here in the auto section. We have nice settings in the tone mapping part. If you click on auto, it automatically makes an adjustment for you. If you want, you can do that. Or you can increase the light inside by raising the exposure here. If you want, you can do that. If you want, you can increase the light inside by raising the exposure here. You can also lower the light by thinking about it. Normally, it comes at a value of 0. Of course, when are we going to do this? We'll light up the inside with the lights, and if that's not enough, we'll resort to this. For now, we don't need to deal with this. Look, we have a carpet on the floor, and we have parquet. After we've done all of this with the materials we'll be using for Corona, guys, we'll continue by looking at these in the final render section. Our goal here is to see how the sunlight coming in affects these. This created a natural effect for us. You can see the patterns here that are commonly used. They look a bit large. We can make these a bit smaller. But the current effect is a bit more natural. I mean, it has a natural effect. It looks like the sheer curtains we use in homes. The patterns are a bit large, but it's okay. I would like to say that there is a really nice ambiance. We'll also apply the denoise effect, which means reducing the roughness over time, guys. So, in this lesson, we got to see how effective the sun can be, guys. Our friends who watch this training set on YouTube can watch the continuation of this training set on Udemy. This training set is exclusive to Udemy. You can watch the detailed version of this video on YouTube and the detailed version on Udemy, and it will really add excellent information about Corona Render for you guys. It will provide you with great insights, and it will really add excellent information about Corona Render for you guys. It will add a lot of valuable information. That's why this training set is very, very important for you.